I believe Dominic Fariello is in the studio with us. Dom, how are you?
I'm great. Good morning. Happy Tuesday to everybody.
And a happy Tuesday to you. If you want to get through to talk to Dom, you can do that right now, 727-579-1025 or 800-771-1025. Get on the phone lines. They are clear if you want to get through. What was the legal question we had this morning that I was going to say for Dom?
John Gruden?
Yes. If John Gruden has a lawsuit against the NFL, would that legally have, what kind of legal ramifications would that have with him working for an NFL team?
Well, I don't know if it would really have any legal implications. I mean, you can have a lawsuit or claim against an employer and still maintain employment, depending on, on whatever the issue is. Now, if it's a wrongful termination or wrongful firing, and then, obviously that's a problem. But the NFL has separate individual owners that can hire coaches, but then have to follow certain guidelines for the league. But I'm not read in on all the specifics that the NFL has, because I mean that's probably an entire law course in and of itself.
But there is a protection, right? Like if Spanish were to sue me for, say, sexual harassment or something along those lines, and he cannot be fired. I can't take it out. I can't find ways to fire him just because he has a lawsuit against me.
Yeah, that would be problematic. I mean, if you have a lawsuit against somebody for any type of claim, and then they're discharged in that time period, then that's the optics of that is going to be somewhat suspicious, or as my kids say now, sus. It's suspect.
It's sus.
Yeah. And I'm learning all the what the 7th graders and the 4th graders say now. It's sus, Dad. Okay, all right. So yeah, that would be problematic. But the great thing about the employment law, if you will, is next week's show. I have an employment law attorney. New sponsor to the show is Sean Estes, and he's been on the show a couple of times. He's fantastic and really does an excellent job in tackling these type of issues when you talk about wrongful termination or sexual harassment or things like that in the state of Florida in particular.
Yeah, it's a really difficult state to deal with that because it's a right to work state. So you really, as an employee, don't have many rights.
Correct. The employer can come in and say, I see Carmen here. Carmen's wearing a gray shirt. I see, I don't like gray. You're fired. And that then in Carmen's out. That's I can say that. Well, I'm using you as an example. I would never.
He said you gained too much weight to be wearing.
Now that's
like a manatee.
That's actionable right there. So Carmen,
Dom, do I have a case?
Yes, you have a case. We can go after that. No, you don't. He's messing around.
Your Honor, I like to point out it's true, and therefore that doesn't make it. I'm kidding, Carmen. I can't even see you, and I bet you look beautiful.
She's on the phone right now, but but if you would say things like, well, because Carmen's a female, or because Carmen's of a certain religion, now you're running into issues where you're discriminating against an individual for a certain particular reason.
Yeah, you fire him and you just don't really say why. You go, I didn't like his face, but the truth is he was a Jew.
And a lot of people
I'm just saying, like if you that kind of guy and you wanted to fire him for one reason or another, then you say, oh, it's because of this.
Actionable.
Mike comes right at you with it. I haven't had my coffee yet today, Mike. Right yeah, you don't want to say things like that because that's obviously going to be in the realm of discriminatory, and folks going to have issues with that, and causes of action potentially. But if you discharge something, a lot of people say, well, I was discharged because we're downsizing or restructuring. Is what I hear a lot when folks call in, and that may or may not be the case, but they don't necessarily have to say, well, thank you for your service, appreciate your time working with the company, we're discharging you.
Carmen, when we say downsizing, it has nothing to do with you.
Oh, man. You don't have to lie.
I walked right into that. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Let's get some phone calls if you want to get through. 727-579-1025. Let's go to David. David, good morning. You're on with Acid Dom. What do you got, David?
Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, Dom, I put a $2,000 deposit down on a vehicle with a major auto dealership. The first vehicle they were supposed to get me the car was no good, and they even said it was a Jeep. The second one, for whatever reason, they had me put a $2,000 deposit down on it, and that car, Jeep, turned out to be bad also. And then the third one, they decided to go ahead and buy one outright. And then when I went to go look at it and see it and drive it, had the check engine light had leaks, and I didn't want that one. And they're trying to kind of force me to take that vehicle. So I'm trying to get my $2,000 deposit back for the second Jeep.
Yeah. All right. Well, did you ever sign anything with these folks? I mean, you put a deposit down. It's to hold a particular vehicle that you're interested in. Did you sign a contract of any kind?
No, just
right.
the deposit slip.
Then the deposit comes back because you didn't sign a contract. You didn't
Nope.
you didn't engage in the purchase of a product, namely a Jeep is what you're looking to buy. The deposit serves or hold this vehicle, don't sell it to anybody, and then you come in and you take a look at it. You could test drive it. You're like, well, you negotiate for it. And then sometimes, well, the price isn't right or something's wrong with it you don't like. All right, I don't want that one. We're going to find something else. How did you put the deposit? Was it a check? Was it cash? A credit card?
A credit card. I already called my credit card company and disputed it.
Fantastic. That's fantastic because what happens is you put it in notice, a letter to the dealership saying, hey, I'm not happy. Send me the deposit back. I didn't sign a formal contract with you guys. And if they said no, then you write to your credit card. Hey, this is what happened. I didn't sign a contract. It's standard deposit. Hold it. I don't like it. This is why. Don't authorize a transaction. And that money should not come out of your account. You should get that money back. And if you don't, you got a fantastic small claims case, in my opinion.
There you go.
It's an amount of less than $8,000.
It's been a couple of weeks and I still haven't got the credit back on my credit card. So I don't know how long it takes for them to credit my card back.
As long as legally they're allowed to do it.
Yeah, call your credit card company and stay on it. If it gets a little longer, email me at acidom.com. We'll give you Attorney Dave Parrott. He handles all of our contract issues on auto claims, warranties, and contracts, etc.
Thank you for the call, sir. Good morning. You're on with Ask Dom. Who's this?
Bobby.
Hi, Bobby. You're on with Dom. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm a 1099 employee, and the company I was working for filed bankruptcy, and I'm owed about $1,300. What can I do?
Well, you can become a creditor in the bankruptcy. So you just you find out who's the bankruptcy trustee. You call them up and say, I was an employee of the company. That's, under, what is 16, 17, 12, 13, 14. You got different levels of chapters of filing, depending on what they decided to do, receivership, bankruptcies, a variety of different ones. And you put in a claim, and then you're going to be listed as one of the creditors. And then certain creditors fall in a certain order. I don't know where you would be in that order, but you would, in essence, be a creditor if they come out of bankruptcy or receivership, and then they start paying the creditors back in that order. Or if they get an influx of funds, or if something happens financially, that's the issue that you're at right now. Because if they're bankrupt, they're out of money. They're not functioning. You can't get blood from a stone, but you could still file, and it will fall. And then if there are funds that are nominal, but they still have to be dispersed, then you can fall into the line of the hierarchy, if you will, of a creditor.
Thank you.
There you go.
All right. Good luck, buddy. Let's grab another one. Good morning. I want to ask the Dom. Who's this?
This is Bill.
Hi, Bill. What do you got?
Hey, I'm a cook, and I've been in the industry a long time, and I'm working overtime, and I realize my boss is not paying me overtime.
Well,
is that against the law?
Well, did you ever get paid overtime?
No.
All right. Well, because
I didn't work a lot of hours. Before season, and now that season's here, I'm getting like 50 hours.
All right. Well, you see, 1099 in the sense, are you paid per hour, or do you have a set amount per week, or is it per job? Cooks are a little unique because of the design.
Hour.
Okay. Well, that's something you need to bring up with your boss. If you're supposed to work a certain amount of time, you work that amount of time. And then if you have to work over that, then the overage, you say, hey, I got an extra 5 or 10 hours in this week. What's going on? How long have you let this go on like this?
About a month since season started.
All right, well, that's not that bad. So I would bring it up with your employer, and you could say, hey, I need to be compensated if that's the agreement arrangement you have, or you need to be paid more money per hour if you're going to calculate those additional hours, or you come up with a different type of payment plan. Or if you don't like it, off you go and you work for somebody else.
Yeah, that's the hard part about Florida. You don't like it, you got to leave.
Yeah.
So it's not against the law per se, unless I say something about it. Like he's not trying to evade taxes or do something funky, and steal my money.
Well, I don't. First of all, evading taxes. I mean, I don't know what your employer's doing.
Well, Dom, it's not a tax thing, but I know when I worked in New Jersey, if I worked in New Jersey, anything over 8 hours a day was considered overtime, and anything over 40 hours a week.
Yeah, and like everybody here is at the work site, they don't pay overtime here. And I'm like, oh.
All right. Well, yeah,
okay.
I think what you need to do is send me an email specifically on the work arrangement that you have. I don't know if you signed anything, and everything's confidential. It comes into my website, askthedom.com, and I'll shoot it over to Sean. Again, he's going to be on the show next Wednesday. It might be something you have a 5 or 10 minute phone call with him just to vet, but he'll need to see more specifics, and I don't want you to put that live on the radio.
Understood.
There you
All
go.
right, buddy. Good
All right,
luck.
Well, thank you very much, Dom.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, I miss the old days. We'd work 8 hours a day, and then they'd come at the end of the day and they go, anybody want to work overtime today? It's time and a half. Yeah. And I'd go, yeah, I got nothing going on. I'll stay here for a couple hours. And then I'd make so much money in the time and a half that I would take the next day off. Yeah, I just doubled up my salary. I'm like, I'm all right. All right. Well, if you didn't get through today, you can always call Dom at the office, 813-251-5550, or go to askthedom.com, where Dom usually responds through email within a day or so to get back to you. And then, of course, here Wednesday night on this radio station, his time on the show makes it so you don't have to listen to Spike. What do you have? Oh, actually, Spike has been, I heard, sitting in on your show, huh?
Yeah, I was telling Carmen here before you came on. Years ago, Kat used to be my board tech. And it was like for 4 years. We had a great time. And then COVID hit, and I was remote at the office. And then when I came back, he had the baby, and dynamics changed. So Kelly was my phone screener, and then Kat was running the board. So then Kelly shifted over. She's running the board, and then Spike came in as the phone screener. But I always mess with Kat just to have fun. I'm like, well, are you too good to come back to the Ask the Dom show? I miss you. We had good synergy. And he's like, he always runs out. Oh, I got the baby. So I always mess with him in a fun way about, are you too good to come back to the show? And then I heard your guys' conversation this morning.
His ego won't let him go back.
I was laughing like, are you too big to come back to it's just a lawyer. It's a law show. It's only 2 hours a week. That's below me. But we joke about it, but it was kind of funny at the same time.
Where did Swigs go? Swigs used to sit in too, and that guy dropped off the face of the earth.
You mentioned, I just ran into him on Saturday night at the meat market, and I hadn't seen him, about over a year, and ran into him. Pumpkin saw him first, and then I came in and then ran into. We had a nice conversation about 5 or 10 minutes. I hadn't seen him probably in over a year.
Yeah, he just dropped off the face of the earth. That guy.
What's he up to now, Dom?
Well, I didn't get that far into it. I mean, he was at a table with folks, so I mean, we were just kind of the chat. He was about the families and the kids and that kind of thing. So I don't really know what he said. He did mention he had a lot of stuff going on. I didn't get into it because obviously where we were wasn't the right time to do that. But he did say, hey, let's get together for lunch and or a bite to eat. And I said, yeah, so I've got to call him up for maybe a lunch or dinner or something. But I just saw him.
Well, good to see he's okay.
Yeah, I hope so too. It was been a year.
What did you just do, Spanish?
Oh my God. I just snapped the rubber band in my wrist, and then I hit my wrist against my mic stand like an idiot.
That's a work comp right there.
Yeah. Meet me by the lake by the alligator. We'll talk about it. Dom, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow night on the radio station.
Yeah, Dr. Leon is going to be in. She's a TMJ specialist along with Park Place MRI. So it's a fun show to talk about some medicals. Every now and then I got medical folks that come in.
Teach Carmen how to open that jaw like a reticulating.
Oh, Carmen, this is the show for you tomorrow. So for all the ladies, the team. Well, technically everybody has the TMJ because it's the joint. So the disorder is actually TMD, which is the temporal mandibular disorder.
She can teach Carmen how to snap it open.
Yeah. So I tell you, Carmen, tune in tomorrow, and also my wife is going to tune in. So pumpkins, you pay attention. I look
Send
out
us
for
those
everybody.
pictures.
I listen. I give back, Mike. I just give
giver.
back.